Well, for us non-branding guys, what is branding? And give us kind of little fundamentals of what it is.
The question we actually get quite a bit. It's a pretty common question. And we found that a lot of people are really confused about what exactly a brand is and what branding is. And, most people, when they hear the word brand or branding, they think logo.
Hey, I'm Josh, preferrablelife.com. Super excited to introduce Dustin and Jeremy to you. They've been running a branding agency for years and have ridiculous amounts of value for you in this video. What is branding? Why is it important? You learn about touch points. You learn about niching down and the value in that. My favorite takeaway was whenever you brand, you come alongside your personhood instead of against your personhood. That's what Preferable Life is all about, is living you out, and because that's most preferable. Hit subscribe. They have a really powerful survey that they have put together. I'll put a link to that in the description so you can, after you watch this video, go take the survey and make some very big headway. Great questions to answer about your brand. Grab a pen and paper, take some notes, grow your business, grow your brand, and let's learn what is branding, why it's important, and rock out your life.
We like to say that a brand is your reputation. And just as we as people, as individuals, have our own reputation based on how we look, what we say, what we do, the same goes for a business. You have a reputation that you can either choose to be intentional about and have a plan in place for, or you can kind of let the market decide your brand and your reputation for you. So we like to approach it that way, and it's easy to understand for business owners. And branding, the different elements of branding, different touch points, anything from a website to your logo, social media, signage, all these different touch points are impacted by your brand strategy. And if you don't have a good brand strategy, you're going to be lost in the market. You're going to be not really standing out amongst your competition. You're going to have trouble communicating with your customers, your audience, really sending a message that resonates with them. And there's a number of different business troubles that you can experience by not having a good brand strategy in place.
That's cool. We hit on some of the next things I wanted to ask is, why is branding important? And what I kind of heard is kind of draw a line in the sand of where you are, and so that you have a consistent outreach or place to grow from, a point of reference.
Yeah, I'll let Dustin kind of touch on why branding is important. Yeah.
Make it sound a lot smarter than what I just said, because that was really bad.
Yeah. So we define brand as your reputation. So branding would be the actions and the things that make up that reputation. So like Jeremy was saying, there's a lot of different brand touch points. But what we try to do is help make sure that you're aligned with what you do, what you say, and how you look. Those are kind of the three areas that oftentimes for a small business it's easy for those to get confused and not necessarily on track and aligned without a clear plan in place. From a messaging standpoint, sometimes you ask somebody what they do and their answer is, well, that's a good question, or, well, it's complicated. You have to be able to answer that quickly and in a way that resonates with the customer. If you have internal confusion about exactly who you are, what you do, why that matters to people, your customers are going to be twice as confused. So getting clarity on those types of issues before you get into design or marketing or any of the executions, it's so important to get that foundational stuff set up.
Yeah, no, that's huge. I'm 15 months into a business, and what you said on, if you're confused, 2x on the customers, and in my experience, it's actually like 10 to 22x.
Yeah, that's probably conservative.
Confusion on. So that's awesome. Yeah. Well, connect the dots with me on, one, explain touch. I know that word, but I don't think that many people understand what that word, and you've dropped it a few times. So tell us what a touch point is.
Yeah, so a touch point is any interaction that your business has with a customer or potential customer. So that would be your website. That would be the way you answer the phone. If you have people calling you, that would be your exterior presentation. If you have signage, that would be even like how you deal with customers throughout the exchanges and interactions and things. So all of those are points of contact with your customer and potential customer. So a lot of times we see none of those are really rooted in a strategy. Everything is just kind of winging it, and you will confuse people and even just set yourself up for failure if those are not all working towards the same goal.
Yeah, I think the number is 7-ish before someone buys, 7 touch points before someone purchases. And it saddens me that businesses do not think about touch points. And so it excited me that you guys dropped that lingo a couple of times, because that's a big deal. So thanks for clarifying that. I'm hearing kind of the thing is synchronicity. So in your phone communication, in your social media communication, in your website language, in your advertising language, in logo design, website design, it is synchronicity. And so it's one voice, one message, and maybe 6 or 8 different ways depending on the target audience. What are some of those kind of, I don't want to say a DIY branding, but maybe we can call it a DIY branding for the...
Yeah, I met with a small number of just business owners locally here, and really just, walking them through understanding what a brand is, going through those foundational elements. A lot of people haven't heard what we're discussing, and it's a new concept for them. So, we started there. We started just with the education aspect of it, giving them new lingo, I guess, they might not be familiar with. Mm-hmm. But as far as your question of, what people can do, on their own or on a shoestring budget or anything like that, I think, one really important piece to that is starting with even the most bare bones concept you can come up with is who are you and what's important to you? What do you value? Even as an individual and also as a business, be thinking about that. We wrote a blog post recently also on personal branding that kind of helps you find your why beyond your career, beyond all these things, your why in your life. So I think from a foundational element, I think it's good to start there. As you lead that into, how that impacts your business, the same concept carries over. Why does your business deserve to exist? Why does it matter to you? Why is it important to you? Starting with that why concept. There's a book by Simon Sinek called Start With Why it goes into a great depth about the importance of starting with why. People do business with people, and if you can communicate your why to other people and why you love doing what you do, why it's important to you, that creates a really good, solid connection with people, and you can begin to build relationships with people. And just as you do that as an individual, you can also do that as a brand if you approach it the right way. So, next steps are, again, going back to not always just talking about yourself, not always talking about how great you are, all your accolades, all your whatever you've done. That's important to a certain extent, but oftentimes that's not really part of people's buying decision or purchasing decision when they're working with the company. So try to think of internal motivators or intrinsic motivators that would relate to your audience who you're talking to. Really do research. If you're not familiar with your audience already, do even more research, trying to find more about what's going to relate to them, what's going to resonate, what's going to get them interested to learn more, to feel like you care. That type of a message will show the human side of a business. And again, people do business with people. So those are just a couple quick ones that I can think of, Dustin.
Yeah. So one of the exercises we take people through is helping with their positioning statement. So basically your positioning is what makes you unique in the market. What is the reason that people would want to buy from you? If you had 7 words to tell somebody, like if you were going to rent a billboard, what are you going to say in that short amount of time that is going to connect with them?
Yeah.
And make you different than the competition. One thing that we've heard and I like to repeat is different is better than better. You don't have to be, and we see this all the time. The best ice cream shop isn't necessarily the most busy. The best donut shop isn't the one that's necessarily the most busy. You can have services that are actually better than the competition, but if you can't differentiate yourself and communicate that in a way that your customers can understand and respond to, your competition's going to beat you with their lesser than services. So figuring out what is it that makes you unique, why does that matter to customers, and being able to communicate that clearly over and over is a huge part of building out a cohesive and effective brand strategy.
So become a headline copywriter for your entire brand, and you can nail it.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need to be able to fall back on something like that, especially if you grow a team. If you've got employees, every one of them is going to describe what you do differently, and that's a problem.
Yeah, that 7-word exercise. I mean, that is so tough. And to define that would just be monster. And, well, I love that the who you are, how it starts from you, and because it saddens me how many businesses start a business but they, I don't know, kind of like because their dad did or because it's cool or whatever. And I call it coming alongside your perfect day. And so like, what is it that you want to accomplish? What are your goals? And so that's super cool that is a fundamental of branding. And I think that many of the things that I have wanted to communicate to clients and just people are founded in a lot of this branding stuff. So super powerful.
Yeah, it really affects every aspect of a business.
Yeah.
People come to us thinking they want a new logo.
Yeah.
But after they go through a comprehensive brand process, it really changes operations and everything about their business.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. You guys haven't even mentioned swatch. You haven't even mentioned font. You haven't, none of those things that you like think about. Well, the things that a non-branding expert thinks about. What are the 3 colors that I want to present?
Yeah.
And you haven't even said it in 25, 35 minutes. Color hasn't even come up.
We blow people's minds when we tell them we can help with their branding without touching their logo.
Yeah.
What?
That's awesome. Yeah. I hear a gold mine on this for a business. Many, I preach niche down, and it sounds like branding forces that. And I would assume that you guys agree. Whenever you get the more defined, the more narrow, the more targeted. So the lawyer example is a perfect one, that you have 100% of lawyer cases, but whenever those 14% of all law situations, whenever you rise to the top of that 14%, that's whenever like crazy success happens. Do you guys see the same thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. Another thing about specializing is your competition becomes your referrals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of trying to compete with everybody, now you're super good at this one thing. All these people you used to compete with now know that that's all you do, so they're good to refer you. So yeah, definitely know what you want to do, and just be the best at it. There's plenty of work out there.
Yeah. Yep. That's man, that's awesome. Come alongside the law of attraction instead of against it.
Yeah.
Well, cool. How can people connect with you?
So you can visit us. We're all on all the social media platforms. If you just search for Longitude Branding, you can visit us at longitudebranding.com and follow us on Facebook. We're on Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, all of the above.
Come see our new office.
Yeah.
334 East Walnut.
Yeah, we just moved into some new office spaces downtown Springfield, so feel free to stop in and say hi.
Just walk in.
Yeah, just walk in.
Walk in, flop down,
So,
take a nap.
Well, you guys are rock stars. You hold a ridiculous amount of power for businesses, and I hear end the spinning wheels, end the lack of definitive terms of who I am, where I'm going, and just all of the elimination of the shiny object syndrome that is so killing for businesses. And you guys hold the key to a ton of it. So glad you guys are here and doing this thing, and super powerful.
Next time we'll actually talk about design because it's important.
we still do pretty logos. So.
Still need pretty logo. Awesome. Well, thanks for connecting.
Yep.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Josh.